Hey everybody, it's me, Angel Benton, and you're watching Angel Sudsy Recap, where we delve into the world of daytime television and we do a few reality shows on the side. And right now we're going to be talking about Young and the Restless, Young and the Restless. And I'm talking a little bit fast right now because I've got a lot of information that I want to get into this 10 minutes. So, before we get into the Young and the Restless, we'll get into the Young and the Restless, but I'm going to warn you right now, I might not get to what actually happened on the show this past week, because last weekend I got to go to the Young and the Restless and Bold and the Beautiful fan event this weekend, and I got to give a major shout out to Kathy Thomas, who put together the entire weekend, and I'm not joking, they did events from Friday night until Sunday night. I mean, it was crazy. And I did almost everything. There were a couple things I didn't get to do because of time constraints, but it was still the best. It was awesome. It was wonderful. Thank you so much. It was the first time I'd ever got to participate in anything like that. And Kathy took great care of me. So I just want to say thank you so much. She's wonderful. Okay, but before we get into that, let's talk a little bit. There was something I wanted to mention on last week's episode of Young and the Restless, or last week's episode of Sudsy Recap, where I talked about Young and the Restless. And that is that, okay, so we're talking about the sex ring, right? And we're wondering who the chick is for the in the sex ring. We know that the guy is Zach. We know it's got to be Zach. There's no way it's not anyone else but Zach. But we don't know who the woman is. And we saw that curly blonde hair in the back of that one scene, right? And we're wondering who could that be? And then it hit me. Oh my God, it could totally be Farrah Dubose, right? The realtor who sold Abby that space that Zach is now in with his business, and B, the one who sold Devon his condo. And the one who spilled coffee on Ashley. So it's like, okay, that it could totally be Eric, because we don't know anything about Farrah's family, or her family, her background, her upbringing. We don't know anything about Farrah except she's a realtor. That's all we know, right? And it could be her. That would, and I would be okay with that. Because A, we get to see more Erica Jane, who I'm obsessed with and I love her. But B, it's also good because it would be one of those things where enough people have probably forgotten about her that it would be one of those, oh, I didn't see that coming. And that's really super important in soaps, and we'll get to that in a second. So now that I've done the weekend, I'm not super sure that that's who they're going for with that. Yeah, I'm not quite sure if it would be Farrah Dubose, but that was my guess. That's what I wanted to mention last week, is that's who my guess was, and I think it's a good guess. But obviously it's not that great, because I don't now that the weekend has passed, I don't think it's her. So let's talk about this weekend. So the weekend started off with this night out with the guys. And the night out with the guys was 7 guys. It was supposed to be 8, but Daniel Goddard, who plays Kane, was ill, so he couldn't attend anything this weekend. But he sent his regards. And there was, from Bold and the Beautiful, there was John McCook, Don Diamont, and Darren Brooks. And then from Young and the Restless, there was Robert Adamson, Brighton James, Christian LeBlanc. There was someone else. There was someone else from, was it Bold and Beautiful? Oh my God, and from Bold and Beautiful there was Ian Buchanan. And he turned up at the last minute. It was great though. It was great having all the guys there. At least those 7 guys there. They were wonderful. They were excellent. I met everyone except Don Diamont that night. I met Don Diamont on the next Sunday on Bold and Beautiful, and we'll talk a little bit about him when we do the Bold and Beautiful recap. But I got to meet everyone else, and everyone was great. Everyone was super nice, wonderful, right? So, Ian Buchanan is actually a neighbor of my friend David and my friend Fabrice. So shout out to you, Ian Buchanan, because he was super nice. I've told him I've watched him ever since he was Duke Lavery on General Hospital. He's wonderful. And it was, again, that's another one of those pictures my grandma would have loved. I told you how much she loves Scotty on General Hospital. She loves Duke. She fucking loved Duke Lavery. So, yeah, so that would have really made her happy to see that picture. John McCook, legend. He's incredible. He's been on the same show for 30 years. He's great. He's on from Bold and Beautiful. They're both from Bold and Beautiful. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to talk about them. Let's talk about Robert Adamson, Noah. Super cute. He's like really cute. He's like so cute. It's kind of makes me lose my focus a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. Kind of throws me off my game a little. Kind of takes my breath away. He's very attractive. And really sweet too. Really sweet. Really. And that's the other thing is every single person that I met this past weekend was nice. Like beyond nice, gracious, kind, hilarious, funny, sweet. I mean, everyone was just so good. Because I'm not going to lie, a couple of the other shows that I've gone to, and you know which shows I've gone to, there have been a couple people that were, I don't want to say standoffish, but they weren't necessarily super outgoing. But these two Bell shows are really, Bold and Beautiful and Young and Restless, are really like one big family. And they really are. It's really crazy. It really is. So I got to meet Christian LeBlanc. He was great too. Wonderful. So when I got up to Brighton James, I asked him, I was like, what was it like working with Erica Jane? Because you know I'm obsessed with Erica Jane. And he was like, she was great. She was wonderful, total professional. She came in, she knew all her blocking. She was fantastic to work with. So easy and simple. Like, you know, because he knew that she was a housewife. He knew that she was a pop star, and he knew that she was on the Housewives, but that's reality show. They don't have blocking on reality shows, right? So he wasn't sure what to expect, but she was a total professional. And he was like, it was great. I'd love to work with her again. So it was great. That made me happy, right? Okay, so then the next day was, the next day was a Bold and Beautiful lunch, and we'll talk about that when we do Bold and Beautiful. But then we had that night was the Young and the Restless dinner. And let me also say that I have met so many of the fans of Young and the Restless and Bold and Beautiful this past weekend. Like, they were way more friendly than the other shows, and those other shows were great too. They had some really good fans, but these people were like, they've become like, I've become friends on Facebook with a lot of them, on Twitter and Instagram. Like, it's been great. It's been like, it was a really good weekend for me. It was really great. Okay, so they had this Young and the Restless dinner. Now, they had the way that the evening was broken out is they had the first half, well, not the first half, like the first hour was an actual sit-down dinner that was catered, and they had a little stage presentation hosted by Hillary and Mariah, or Michelle Morgan and Cameron Grimes. Now, what's hilarious is that Michelle Morgan was like, oh, Mariah, blah, blah, blah. And Cameron Grimes was like, my name's Cameron. Just FYI, you know that I play a character named Mariah. Like, what world do you live in? Like, what is going on? I don't get it. So, but they introduced people, and the best part of that whole section of the show was that they had the Abbotts come out. They had Jack, they had Ashley, they had Tracy, and they had Dina Mergeron. I fucking love her. I've loved Marla Adams ever since she was first on the show, right? And they were great. And then next thing you know, through the audience comes Billy, the one Abbott that everyone forgot. And he was so pissed off at Jack. It was great. They played it so well. It was wonderful. That was great. Okay, so then we got to meet all the individual people. So then after that little hour was done, we got to meet all the individual people. And the first person I went to was Marla Adams. Dina Mergeron. She is great. And I told her, I said, I have loved you for so long. I think you're so fantastic. I'm so glad you're back on the show. It is awesome. And she's like, you know, make sure you write in and tell. So write in and tell everyone that you love Dina on the show, because she's fantastic. We love her. I met Eileen Davidson. I went up to Eileen Davidson and I was like, okay, this might sound crazy, but I would like to take a picture with you, and I want you to be just glamorous and just be yourself. I'm going to do, because I love you as Susan Banks. Well, I loved you as all your crazy characters on Days of Our Lives, but I loved Susan Banks. I live for Susan Banks. I'm going to make a Susan face, and you do your Kristen face. And she was like, and Eileen Davis was like, you know, people will think you're crazy. And I said, what other people think of me is none of my business. And she was like, let's do it. And she was laughing through the whole picture. And I was giving, because honey, I went all in on that. I was giving you Susan Banks for days. I was all, it was great. It was fun. That Christian just lane. Oh my God, it was so great. It was wonderful. It was great. So that picture's coming. You're going to die. It was great. Cameron Grimes. Okay, so I met Cameron Grimes. And first of all, she loves Disney. I didn't know that, so that's great because I was like, yeah, girl, I worked at Disney. I worked at Tokyo Disneyland. Like, I was kind of, because I worked there for 8 years. So I was like, I came and kind of gave her my run. She was like, no way. But I told her, and I need everyone to pay attention to this part. I told her that I loved her on American Idol, and she was like, I wasn't on American Idol. I was like, you were in the audience one time, and I want to say it was a finale episode of either season 1 or season 2. So it was at least like 12 years ago, right? God, it was longer than that. It had to have been like 2003, 2. It was a while ago, right? And Ryan Seacrest called her on the stage, and he just said, "What's your name?" And she's like, "Cameron." And he's like, "Thanks, Cameron," or whatever, right? And then, so I knew who she was because I watched Young and the Restless, and she'd either just finished or she was on still as Cassie. So that was a while, that was a while ago. But she was like, I don't remember that. I don't think that ever happened. And I promise you, I'm not making that up. So anybody out there, if you can see, if you have access to YouTube and you can help me find that clip from when she was on American Idol. Cameron Grimes was on American Idol. I promise you, I'm not making it up. I'm looking too. I'm looking for it as well. And then at me, at Angel Benton at Twitter or Instagram, or send it to me on Facebook, or, just get this to me or leave it in the comments of YouTube. I promise you, I promised her I would at her with it, and I would let her know I was not crazy. I promise you were, that happened. So she was like, okay, if you say so, but that's all I have time for today. So I just want to say thank you so much for logging on today. I do appreciate it. Please feel free to follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Angel Benton. You can hashtag YArts Talk Young and the Restless. You can also hashtag GH Talk General Hospital, and because I'm doing that now next. And you can also follow my YouTube. You can hit subscribe on my YouTube channel to get my YouTube videos sent to your inbox every single day. Okay, thank you so much for logging on today, everyone. Have a wonderful day. I wish I could tell you more, but just keep your eye open for my posts, because I'm going to be posting pictures, and I'll tell about all of my interactions with everyone, including Mal Young, the executive producer, who I spent like 40 minutes with. It was like a master class. We talked about soaps, we talked about Young and the Restless, we talked about US versus UK, we talked about Doctor Who, because he used to work on Doctor Who, we talked about Billy Piper. He was incredible. He was awesome. It was just the best night ever. It really was. I'm still on a high from it. So, and that was like 3 days ago, but it was great. It was wonderful. So thank you so much for logging on today. I do appreciate it. Have a wonderful night. Peace out. Wubba, wubba, wubba.